let's talk about, so I got to ask you this question. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you're famous in the jiu-jitsu community. There's various different types of what we call submission moves. There's arm bars, there's different kinds of chokes, there's different kinds of ways you can attack your opponent's legs. But your move is something called the guillotine, or you become so good at this, it's become such your signature move that now people, what do they call it, the Marinhotine?
Marinhotine, yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about, so the Marinhotine, basically for people that aren't familiar with jiu-jitsu, involves a kind of a frontward grabbing of the neck, and then basically if you grab the person correctly, the fight is essentially over with, right? So how did you develop that move, and what is it about that particular move that you like so much?
Man, I remember like I started jiu-jitsu 17 to 18 years old. Was kind of like all my friends are already doing, like, younger than me, and I say, man, how am I gonna catch up? Like, and I was looking, man, I say, man, this guillotine is one thing that, like, no matter, let's say, no matter how big you are, no matter how fast, if you get there, like, and you know how local well, it's gonna be something that you're gonna submit the guy,
Yeah.
And I was start looking there, I say, man, I'm gonna start try. And I start try the guillotine. It was an easy position to learn too, right? It was the first position, one of the first positions to learn jiu-jitsu. And I start apply, but in the beginning I was not doing well, like I was like lost a lot, like some matches, sometimes I lost because I tried do it and didn't work, and people say, man, stop doing this, But I was believing that every time that I make a mistake on the guillotine, I find something new that I can improve, all the time. I fail on this time, but man, I think it was because my elbow was like open or this or that. And I was kind of like a build over time, my position. And since like 2017, it was something that purple belt, when I get become something strong for me, something that make me confident. Like I say, I know if everything goes wrong, I have that one. Like it's like that guy who have a good punch. You can get beat up, but if you put one punch on you, it's like the same thing for me, the guillotine.
For sure.
And was one position that I started to succeed a lot with. And when I moved here, become even better because I started training wrestling with Professor Servando.
Yeah.
When I start training wrestling, I become like so confident and take people down, like, and the only way that they're gonna try, like, if they try to take me down, I apply the guillotine.
Yeah.
If they don't try, I take them down and I apply the guillotine on top, from on top. And it was one thing that over time I was like a building, and like you said, it was become something like special for me. I say, like, I'm a great fighter, I believe I'm really good in jiu-jitsu, but the guillotine is something special that make me kind of like special in this area, like it's something that I really master.
And, you mentioned something about wrestling there, and, I think it's fair to say, Pedro, that over the years, wrestling has become a much, much bigger part of jiu-jitsu, particularly in no-gi, and wrestling, frankly, has become a big deal in mixed martial arts too. And you have really, really worked hard. We have a black belt professor at Gracie Barra West Chase, Servando, who's an expert at wrestling, teaches competitive wrestling classes. And so you've really, really focused a lot on your wrestling, and it shows. And so the problem, and again, I'm going to describe, the people that know about jiu-jitsu, I don't have to describe this to you people, but for people that aren't familiar with jiu-jitsu, essentially you start standing up. So both competitors are standing up. And then one of the competitors, usually what we do it taking a shot, or tries to take the other person to the ground. The problem that people have when they fight you is, when you take a shot at somebody, you have to kind of lower your level, and that opens them up to your guillotine. And so if people are taking shots at you, they need to be super, super careful. And if they don't take shots at you, don't try to take you down, then that opens up your offensive game, where you can take people down. So that makes you a really, really tough guy to beat. But I'll tell you, Pedro, you said something just a second ago about how, maybe your elbow was a little out of place, or maybe, the little tweaks of the position. And one of the things that is totally addictive for me for jujitsu is, like, the more I train, the more details I realize I need to learn. And it's so deep in terms of, just putting your hand in a little bit different position, your weight in a little bit position, making a little bit different grip. It's just like endlessly fascinating, and